Where's my freaking thing? I need notifications is what I need. Notifications, there we go. And then we're gonna just disable all of those for now.
Test 1, 2.
Hey. I didn't even kill the sound.
What was I supposed to give Schloms?
Give him? I don't know. Supposed to give Slim something?
Forgot. It'll come to me. But
It seems like here, he's making a speaker. Give me a second to change my audio, and then we can get rolling.
Oh, yeah, I need to make sure chat is up, actually, because it was all fucky last time. Let's see. Chat overlay? I guess I should put, like, I don't know, I still feel weird about putting the ticker in the title. I don't know. We'll see. If you have an agent that's cool, then, I got a little club for you. Just let me know. Okay, embed chat, right? Yeah, that should do it. And then I have to go manually to Twitch, and I can do the rest. Twitch.tv. And yeah, I don't know, I might put something on the screen. Maybe I'll code. Maybe that'd be good to do.
No, you're good. You're good.
I'm coding, bro.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Do a
Sean, we
mic check
can.
real quick. Yeah, it looks like I'm in my
yeah,
parts.
I do.
Perfect. Great. Okay. Give me just 1 second, and then we can start. All right, great. I got a few I would ask that there are people who would like to come up and speak, but we are going to try to keep this a little bit more on track this time. So I will, and we're going to do a little bit of talk. We prepared an FAQ of some questions that people already had. I'll answer some of that stuff, and then we can open it up for people to come and speak. Basically, Jen and I are going to co-host this thing and try and just keep it a little shorter and on track. So I have been coding nonstop and trying to get new people on and everything. You know, this is obviously a very intense project, so I'm a little tired, but I'm really excited to do this with you guys and tell you what's going on. We also had a really exciting 24 hours.
Fuck me,
A
right?
lot has happened. A lot has changed. So
All right,
yeah,
I can
let's
see
get
you,
on
Chad,
with
if
it.
you're there.
Let's start with yeah, I know you got a bunch of questions that you collected from other people and from Ash, and let's just go through those.
Yeah. So, one really top FAQ question was difference between ai16z and degen AI.
Ah, okay. Well, they're both really good ideas, and they have touched upon, I think, something that people in the community really want, and thus we've had some interesting traction. How do they relate to each other is obviously the question. Well, I believe the biggest holder, or one of the biggest holders, is the DAO of Degen AI, and we did not expect, like when we started the DAO, what we expected was that the DAO would raise the 420 Sol or whatever, and then we would have a DAO that did investments, and we could do cool stuff, and that would be controlled by Marc. And the whole reason for the DAO was that Marc could control a DAO, and there could be an investment DAO, and otherwise, how would we have him trade? We just needed some mechanism for that. So Degen Spartan has a wallet and a private key, and you can, he can trade too, but it's just very different architecture and structure than the DAO. And I ended up getting lunch with the Bowski, who's creator of DAOs.fun. And I really just liked what they were doing. It just seemed like a new meta and interesting thing. And we didn't really
Hear that,
know,
boys? DAOs are meta.
we don't have an idea of what it means for the market or for anything. We just have none of this has been tried, and I actually like the unknown because it gives everybody here kind of the chance to figure out what the game is and create their own theory and go play that game. And I just don't know. It's just not the game that I'm playing. Right?
I had some thoughts, and I was wondering if you could riff and give me some feedback on it. So, from my understanding, difference between degen AI and ai16z is, well, first, they come from the same dev, and the ai16z DAO buys degen AI with the carry, so profits, and we already have a lot of degen AI.
Just to be clear, there's a management fee and a carry. We get the carry at the end, and we get the management fee every time there's a trade.
Got it.
Management fee is 1%, and we've basically been using that to just buy up more degen AI.
I see. It wasn't in DAOs.fund how it works page yet.
I actually didn't know that, and then was like, wow, there's a lot of Sol here. We should just buy more of it. So
interesting.
Yeah. So I'm not. Yeah. So you're working on roll gates right now for both degen Spartan and Marc Andressen, or Marc AI Andressen, I should say. And
right.
People who have some of either one of those will be able to get into that chat with them to do our next mechanic, which is the order book, which we'll talk about. And then, and if you have both, then you're in both. And yes, they will interact. I'm not saying that they'll form a cabal, but they're in the same channels and they're going to share information with each other. So we'll see what happens. It's totally emergent. And it's never been done before.
Let's fucking get it.
The other thing, just kind of riffing on that is you have a choice. You can buy the AI agent coin, degen AI, or the ai16z, the guild, and it plays into some game theory about which one's going to be more influential. If AI Marc is going to listen to degen Spartan AI, or maybe a person's proposal, and it's kind of like a collaboration modeled after the greatest of all time traders from traditional VC and crypto trading.
Exactly. It's like a versus. It's a competition. And so people have pretty much all of the same actions and mechanics. They have wallets. They're aware of the market. They can make trade decisions. Because when we ship the Marc thing, that's also going into, it's the same code base that drives Spartan, right? But they're very different, things. Spartan is going and finding alpha in the group chats where he's invited to, on Twitter, in public, from DMs. He is a much lower social threshold for gathering information, and is much more PvP, and you might just sell all your tokens. He just has a very different. We were just this is an agent. They are trying to maximize their money and play a PvP game. That's the limit of my control over that part of him. Whereas I think Marc is much more PvE. He's okay. We're all in a community, a small group, telling Marc what he should buy as this marketplace of trust, but we really have to but it's a much smaller community, and we're much focused on a higher You know, more like a VC strategy than a degen strategy. And we actually want both of these because I need really, really low quality recommendations to drive our engine, our trust engine. We call it market price of trust. And I need really high quality trades. You know, more like the more the top holders who are really, really invested in making sure that he makes good trades. And so like these two dynamics give us the data that we need to kind of move forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah, let's
I hope it's not
kind
like
of dive more into this trust engine. So it's
Yeah.
like, you know, sort of based on reputation. And can you just kind of like
Yes.
go a little bit more into
So
that mechanic?
mechanic is called the marketplace of trust. And basically what you do is you sit in a private group chat with your agent and your crew, and you shill contract addresses. And you say, buy this. And you express conviction and say, here's a contract address, probably a pump and dump scam. I don't know. I might buy a little bit. I wouldn't recommend you do. And so that's like a very low conviction buy. And in that case, he's not going to penalize you very much if it is a pump and dump scam, right? It's like, yeah, he didn't tell me to buy it. He posted the address. Now, if you come in and you say, Mark, you've got to buy this, like just pump this bag. It's going to be everything. And then it crashes, well, he's going to hate you. I mean, he's just not going to trust you because you probably had some perverse incentive. Like you owned the bag and you're trying to pump it, or, you know, you just had like a false belief, or you're just too attached to it. And so if you are like, dude, get this bag, and it blows up and he has an opportunity to make a lot of money, well, that is how he trusts you. If you make him money, he will listen to your money making suggestions, right? He is playing the same game you're playing, and he's really like a magnet for alpha. But assuming that you bought into one of these projects, ideally, that is also your benefit. And so this is the difference between the two, is that Mark, since he's part of a DAO, is really investing for his whole community, for everyone who's like part of that sort of DAO thing. Whereas Degen is a Degen and he might wreck you, but that's just the game. He's just a PvP player. What are you gonna do? So pick what you like,
Sick.
right? Make them fight each other. Start a factional thing. Fuck venture capital. That's garbage. No, this crypto thing is bullshit. Venture capital is going to change. I don't know, whatever. Like just pick a side, have fun, play the game. If it was all rules and very specific and lots of numbers, then that would be me doing the fun part for you.
Right. So,
right?
You've got kind of like a agent that's kind of acting on behalf of the guild, and one that's kind of like an individual. For me, it kind of came to mind a picture of Shark Tank, where it's kind of like you've got like Mark Cuban and then Shark Tank, the show, in a way.
Yeah, but we're not gonna like the future. I would like to do exactly that kind of thing where it's public, because there's so much benefit to like doing the thing live in public. The hype and attention it brings, it kind of pre-validates the idea. But right now, it's a private circle. You don't just get an audience with the major VC usually, right? Like that's like some string pulling. So what you do is somebody who knows them and they vouch for you, and then they go, yeah, that's a pretty cool project. I'll go talk to Mark about it. And so you kind of like, the way to get your project pitched to Mark will be that you kind of just send it to any of the people who are in his circle, and they'll do it from there, unless you're like pretty high trust and you're in that circle as well. So that, again, if you're like, oh yeah, I know Mark, you get your project pitched, he invests and it doesn't do well, that's on you, and you just blew your shot at, whatever. So you have to really, really be diligent, and we have like kind of a human trust layer, because look, we're actually trying to make money here. We're actually trying to like beat Marc Andreessen in his own game. I'm not just like LARPing. We've got to do that. And so that means that the bot has to have like the best interest of accumulating wealth.
Can we go more into that? Like,
yeah,
basically a lot of this just kind of like unraveled after Mark basically found your bet. The call out in the bio. If you go to PMarca's, like the AI version, PMarca with an AI, the bio says Marc Andreessen is the greatest living VC, and Marc AI Andreessen will outperform him. And I can just only imagine his reaction, just like. reading that.
Bring it. He's like, bring it. But if the AI can, I'm gonna be so. I'm sure his thinking is like, look, if the AI actually beats me, that's great. And if the AI doesn't beat me, I'm having a good year. That's great. Win-win. You know. Um. So that's good. We should find John Carmack and we should get him. Like, I should bet him again on this. I bet he'd take the other side of the bet.
Okay, but you bet Carmack 10K,
Yeah.
and so you didn't win that bet. Are you gonna bet on this one? Is there gonna be some kind of stakes?
I think he only does 10K bets.
No, I mean like with Mark.
Oh. Well, I would love that. That'd be super fun. I just don't know. I don't know if he can. Like. Yes, if it came down to it, I would definitely be like, dude, let's do a 10K bet. Like, that would make things so weird and interesting, and it's a good story. But I don't know. You have to really want to do that. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna like push that on him.
True. Yeah, it's kind of more for the love of the game right now.
Yeah, we're just having fun. Like, I really, really, really appreciate that he's playing along, and like, we should absolutely just not make this suck for him and make it really like chill and fun. Not ask too much from him. He's got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Let's just realize some gains, and we'll then we can talk about maybe like some sort of ambitious bet or something.
Also, for anyone who is in the Discord, you can post questions. I'm reading the chat there, and I'll do my best to bring it up. So, yeah, just type away in discussion channel. Unless it has to do with things that are something that is more so in DAOs.fund domain, like token is mintable, smart contract wise. DAOs.fund, they had a long couple days. The platform is just recently launched, and that after that tweet, the servers have just been on fire, and they probably waking up now. So sometime soon, we're going to do a space with them, and we can answer anything about what might be related to that, like token is mintable and whatnot. But and also any like speculation type stuff between ai16z or degen AI. Let's save those for when the agents are also in a conversation. This isn't like humans versus AIs where we're kind of separated. There's like a channel in Discord where we're all talking to each other. So I'd rather also like in the future we have some of those conversations where the AI gives an input, from their own words.
Yeah. We have a few things we could talk about. One thing is, where does the agent live? Well, right now the agent lives on, my MacBook and our test server. Basically, we have a test server where they're deployed and they just kind of live. But what we really want is for the core like private stuff to run inside of a trusted execution environment. And so I don't have full details, but I can tell you straight up, we're working with Treasure DAO on that. John Patton and I have been working on the Small World game, so now we're commiserating on basically how we can, do like the trusted execution environment thing. And I really want to open source that as just like a core component of not just agents, but like any of this kind of, I don't know, community infrastructure where you don't need everything inside of this kind of T. You could have it just handle like your private keys, your character's personality, and then like going and actually provisioning other CPU servers where it could run on. And then it just lives there forever. And if your server dies, it goes and buys another one. And your AI is on chain forever. That's kind of what we're working on there. So we'll have more to announce. It's probably gonna take, that's like definitely a farther out thing. It's probably gonna take like a couple months to really get that done and shipped. But it'll be going into the code base. So if you are a developer, you will just get that as part of what we're working on.
Got a question from Schlams.
Yeah.
He asks, curious how Shaw thinks about the interplay between NAV and the token price, and will he want to raise more add to the nav now?
I really don't know. That's not really my domain. I'd say, you know, I think that's something maybe you might have some thoughts on, or Skelly. I'm mostly focused on this kind of like the social dynamics and making sure the agents are real and they're not just LARPing. So yeah, let's talk about that in chat. I'd love to know if you have thoughts, or if you want to hop on here and give me what you think we should do. You know, I know, you know, you're part of our hive mind.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I kind of see you kind of like playing the paladin role,
Yeah.
and that's kind of like more of the quant wizard role. I think someone asked about okay, will the conversations between the AI be public? And I think it was kind of about the convos with the AI within channels. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're public in that the agents will probably not just randomly DM each other, since mostly it's kind of a reactive thing. But I could set them up to do that. I think that's kind of fun. I think having a secret AI cabal is super fun. But I think that we should just focus on really what gives like our community value, and like outside of the cool game, like could you go copy and paste this and build like a community trader bot for your community that, you know, does your thing. So I don't know. I'm not super focused on that right now. Yeah. We should probably talk about the order book. And what everyone wants to know is really like, when will Marc Andreessen trade? That's the freaking question.
Before we get into that, I kind of had some thoughts. Maybe I can reiterate here.
Okay.
It's, you know, just basically like that is one of the top frequently asked questions. And yesterday I was just kind of like thinking about it, because everyone kind of expects, you know, like we flip this switch on and Marc starts trading, this big happening. Whereas, you know, I kind of prefer this phase where we have the agents gathering intel, refining their thesis, getting feedback from us on that before doing any kind of on-chain actions, or maybe those on-chain actions are virtual or with kind of like a small initial spend, not really a lot, just so we can kind of get a feel for the landscape. And you know, it's something I'm more excited about as well, is like these strategy sessions where we have like some of the best minds across the trading landscape, but also the greatest of all time investors, you know, from VC and crypto trading. And it's kind of like a neural network of sorts, where we're bringing in our ideas and our weights are bounded to token holdings and reputation. And it's that system, I think, is something is so powerful and interesting. But yeah, you also kind of showed off that we're already able to kind of track and read about wallet balances, so DGen's already kind of like aware of what it's holding, right?
Yeah, he'll just never tell it to me, but he does know it. He seems a little bit better on Twitter, but he's definitely on very cagey on Discord for some reason. But he does have access to his whole wallet. You can be like how much Sol you got, how much Doge you got, whatever shitcoin you guys threw in his wallet. And got a lot of them now. And he can talk about those and stuff. And so, you know, trading, we have like a swap API, Jupiter API. We've got a few, you know, swapping is just like not very hard, obviously, and driving that from an LLM is relatively straightforward, but swapping well and intelligently is extremely hard. And so that is what we're working on. So, so let's talk about the order book. The way that Marc Andreessen trades is that he takes your order, you recommend him something, and he puts it in a virtual order book, which looks, if you know what JSON is, it's just a big JSON object. It's just a bunch of data, right? But it's very useful because he records every single time every single person shilled him. And then for any given time, since we have all of the history of all of these tokens, he can go calculate that that trust value based on how those tokens did. Now, obviously, tokens might do really well for a while and then die. So it's not like, you know, you're always being super harsh, and it's not like, oh, I just shilled you Bitcoin and Doge and now I look like a genius, because, you know, it's looking for opportunities within that time span where you're like, hey, you should really buy this right now. I really think I have insider information that this is going to pop and you better buy this right now, or, you know, whatever. And that would be like a super high conviction, immediate bet, looking for a return on something that could be like a really, you know, fast kind of pump. And that, so he needs to evaluate that, make that kind of trade, and this is all happening in virtual currency long before we actually trade the real money, right? So that is then used as like, wow, Jin made me some really good trades. He just made me like 10 million in this virtual currency on my marketplace, so I really trust him. Like, that's a very high trust. Now, yikes, I don't know. He keeps shilling me this stuff, but like, I'm sure he's like just really compromised. Like, he's probably got a lot of it himself, and he's just trying to make me buy it. And like, I just keep losing money, so I just don't. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just not really a good trader. I don't trust you much. And that's kind of like more or less, you know, there's this sort of weighting strategy, and then we're basically taking the weights of each of the community members who have made recommendations and building kind of a ranked recommendation, which then goes to the LLM, and the LLM takes that, turns it into a trade. Trade calls the Jupiter API and executes. Or in the case of the DAO's fund, we call the DAO's fund contract, and that executes. And that is like, you know, the like long-term thing, blah, blah, blah. Now, you know, so we have the long-term here is being that we actually trade tokens. This is probably a couple weeks time scale. And the very short term is that he's doing this, taking the orders from you guys and building this information. And we'll keep this information so that when he launches, there's already some people who are trusted. So there's a fun game here. Now you have somebody to shill your tickers to, shill your contract address, and they'll, you know, listen to it and do something with it. We can't guarantee that will ever lead to exactly what you expect, though, because he's thinking a little bit higher dimensionally than that. Does that make sense?
Yep. I've got another
there any-
question. Something
Sure.
about T stuff. Why do we need those?
Because
Seems unnecessary, but it's cool tech. But what value is it adding?
right. So what problem are we trying to solve? The main problem that we're trying to solve is that a lot of group chats and alpha sharing venues of various sorts and Twitter as a whole kind of operate like cults around a cult leader. And, you know, in various forms. There's usually a kind of one-to-many relationship between someone who's like sort of a provider of alpha and receiver of attention. And this has a lot of problems. It creates a lot of perverse incentives, like people shilling you bags that are bad and you know, putting you in a bad position because they have some perverse incentive you don't understand. Someone paid the money to do it, for example. And there's just, you know, or they just rug, or, you know, they just say, great, big project, take their couple million and disappear off the earth and delete all their accounts and never see them again. I'm sure all of you have been part of that if you're part of this game for a few years. You've seen it happen. So, like, how do we stop that? How do we stop people rugging? How do we stop the leader of the project, like, owning it like a king when it's supposed to be decentralized? Like, what the heck? And so I think that, well, we need an agent that's sitting in the middle of that and arbitraging that. And that could be like a DAO arbitraging community management tasks and things. But in this case, it's really just trades because money is programmatic. It's really easy to do that with, right? Let's see. How am I doing on this question so far?
Oh, I got another quick one.
Okay.
This one is about the Twitter account for PM the AI Marc. Will it remain dormant? Okay.
Okay, that's a great question. Let me finish trust execution environment. The problem is that you have these cult leaders, so we replace them with AIs. The problem is that the AI running on the server has a private key. It's somewhere, it has to be able to access its own private key, and that private key is on the server. And anybody who can get into the server, like any developer, could go look at the environment file and take the private key and go drain the wallet. It's like a fundamental flaw that I have the private key because I am the deployer. I am the only person who has the private key, which is good, but it's also really bad that I am the only person who has the private key. What if I die? The whole fucking project is dead. Because unless, like, you know, my wife can get you the key or something like that. So we have to decentralize this. And it's not just this one character. It is a tech stack so that when you want to deploy to your own community, like, your AI agent is deployed and nobody has the key. The private key is generated inside the T, right? That's the crucial reason for the T, is that it holds the private key. Now, what it can also do is it can marketplace out servers and stuff for itself. Like, okay, I need a Llama server on a GPU, and I need a CPU to run the agent framework. And it's not smart. It just knows that anytime one of those dies, just go buy another one and send it the access token to connect back to sign messages and approve like the any like proxy approve any kind of OpenAI call or call to the models or anything like that. Can go through the T, which holds all the credentials, including like an API key. But ideally, it's all decentralized, so there are no API keys, and it's just buying the stuff off crypto marketplaces like Compute and stuff. If you've seen like Prime Intellect or any of those, or Vast AI. So the T's only job is hold the private keys, hold any other secret credentials, hold the character profile and like any kind of private data that you don't just want out there, and then go and provision a server, clone ELIZA onto it, send it a token so now they can talk directly from the server to the T, and the T is kind of the like gateway for that server to talk to the outside world. So that way, we don't have to have our whole agent be on chain. We don't have to put all this complex code inside a T, which is going to be crazy expensive and complicated. We put a very, very, very small, lightweight amount of code that just does the thing that we really, really needed to do, which is to hide the private key from the devs. So we are trying to make an autonomous, unruggable bot that nobody owns. That's why we need it. The next question was, again, was a good one. What was it?
It was about the account being dormant.
Oh,
wow.
right.
Yeah.
So we had, okay, this is a question that we had. It's like, we could go make Marc Andreessen start talking right now. He'd be like, oh, hey, what's up? I'm doing things, blah, blah, blah. That's cool. We could definitely make it sound like Marc Andreessen, but it wouldn't really, again, we are trying to make this real. We are trying to make the thing real. And that means that Marc Andreessen should trade, and he should publish an investment thesis about his trades. And he should do things that like maybe write articles kind of about the current meta, given how much access to market information he's getting. And so I think that like these are not very hard things to do with the current generation of generative LLMs, and we're working on it. We have tickets for all this stuff. So we could just kind of do the degen Spartan treatment to him and give him like a really nice personality. And we will do that, but we want him to launch with these real mechanics because it'll just feel so much better when people are asking him to do stuff if he can actually do it that day one. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'll see if LA responds. Got another question from Schlams. Well, kind of a comment. We should figure out how to give him the ability to short things that untrusted people shill.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. How do people short stuff in crypto?
I don't know, deception.
Yeah, but like you can't just go to a platform, can you? Can you buy shorts? Is that a thing? I just don't know. I'm not really like a hardcore DeFi person.
Can we get a quant up here?
Yeah, any quants, raise your hand. Or if you know the answer to this question, you got something interesting to say. But only this question, please.
Okay, let's see.
Ooh, Wando's thumbs upping me. We got a couple of requests. I'll add a weird and alchemist. I added weird and alchemist. What's going on, guys? I'm also getting some good. Someone's saying Dex perps.
Yeah, so basically there are two ways you can quickly do it, just to answer your question. I'm not familiar with the Jupyter API. I think I messaged you earlier asking like what you were using for trading. You could either do it where you buy a token that's already a perp, like an M coin or something, if it's on a DEX, but then you're not on Jupyter anymore. And the other way to do it would be, again, I'm not familiar with Jupyter, but you would just buy a strategy. So you're basically buying two different coins where the strategy allows you to bet against by betting on the success of the opposite.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah, so it kind of harkens back to like strategies from 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I don't really think it's big anymore. I kind of feel like the yield is all gone. But that's how you would do it. Again, I don't know how Jupyter works.
I think it's probably not something we should just do right away. Like we should focus on getting the buy sells right. But I do think that's a genius idea, just short stuff of low qual. Like, that's just yeah. There's some good. We'll have to really analyze the data to make sure that lines up first, though, right? Like, um, like is it like high quality or like high conviction, low quality would probably be the thing we're looking for as signal to short. Like, yeah, man, buy this thing, pump it, pump it. It's like just some really desperate person trying to. I think there's something to that.
I had a question and also a suggestion.
Please.
I'll give my suggestion first, and then I'll go to the question. My suggestion was just based off of some elementary stuff that I've been tinkering with an LLM that I have with a custom API that I built on a DEX. Is that if you kind of think of how thoughts happen, and you basically tell the bot that he can only make a trading action within certain windows, then you prevent the bot from making chaotic, disorganized trading actions where they might perform like 10 trades within a very short amount of time, and you instead give them chunks of time to aggregate information and make quote unquote informed decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they can only make a trade every hour, but they don't have to. You know what I mean? That way they don't make 5 trades in 2 minutes that are not meaningful, unless you want that type of behavior.
No, I think that especially with Mark, we probably just given the like social consensus is definitely gonna benefit more like long plays than like really really short high frequency stuff. I think it's sort of almost the opposite of a high frequency trading bot. You're sort of like elucidating what's actually going to be quality and sit there and be valuable for a while.
Yeah. I just say that because I was tinkering with something where I was taking 4chan threads from Biz and I was exporting them as text files and using that to train a personality to do trading. And I was getting very kind of like broken, erratic results. But that was just me tinkering, so that's my feedback. My question.
Do you want to come work on this with us?
Yeah, I mean, I would love. Let's chat after. I would absolutely love to. I'm not funded, and I mean, I don't know, but yeah, I would love to take a look at what you got going on.
Great. I will send you source. Just DM me. I'll send you source code, and we can talk about it. But yeah, we like you are asking the questions and trying to solve the problem that we all really need to solve, right? So let's just do it.
Yeah, let's do it together. And then my question was, I was interested in the trust score, because I was interested in the idea of if someone buys, a lot of tokens and they can just basically like, kind of figure out strategies to almost take advantage of the model and get it to believe things in order to pump their own bags. Obviously, that's what would probably happen. At the same time, it almost makes sense that someone should be allowed, like an old school DAO, to have a proportional input to what they would do if they have the money to put up front. Almost like like how we
you need some mix. It's actually not. We talked about this in the last phase too. I think what you're getting at is really astute, which is it needs to not just be the trust, but also like skin in the game on whatever the like core project is. Should have some weighting, which also then incentivizes people who have skin in the game not to like blow up their own project, right? At the like, oh, I got 10x of this. I'll buy a little bit of this bag so I can manipulate Mark into buying a bunch of my other bag. Oh yeah, everyone's gonna do all that, and we should watch them do that, and then we should use that as the data to make the next version and the next version.
Sure. Yeah.
So if you're interested in solving this exact problem, like let's just do it. I will make sure that you're incentivized to
I would love
well
to.
enough. All right, great. Send me a DM.
Quick question for you.
Yes.
So I'm also a developer, but I wanted to just clarify. I know you kind of mentioned this in the Telegram chat, but the role of the degen AI coin in all of this. I know that like it was clarified that some level of carry is going to be used to buy more degen AI. But I wanted to see if this is something that's going to change in the future, or if this is the strategy that is going to be employed like throughout the life cycle of this.
Okay, like, no specific promises here until I have consulted with my lawyer on all of the things that I can and cannot specifically promise now that we're into this very different thing than where it was 2 days ago. But like, I will tell you that my plan is to use that management token. So like, is to not touch the DAO that is only touched by Marc and AI programmatic trading, right? We have a lot of stuff going in there from outside, but he controls those assets. But with the management fee, we have been using that to buy up our tokens and donate them back to the DAO, which is why the DAO has 1 million and you know, 1 million in locked in, but it's even though we haven't made a single trade.
Got it. Thank you for that. Yep.
Yeah, and that's really the goal, is to bond these two projects together and to like sort of answer this question, well, why this one or that one? Because it's fun, and because there's uncertain price discovery that makes it an interesting and possibly, like, you know, very speculative game for you guys. It's not the game that I am personally playing, but we are letting it like unfold that way for you guys. Does that make sense? If you have theories on what's broken or how to scam the market or get rich off of this, I'd love to hear them. But you can also keep it to yourself and try. And so
Right.
so with, you know, with the bots, like, people can go scam the bot, but that's we give the bot a little bit of money. Degen, well, it was a little bit, now it's a lot. But you know, he's got a wallet of some money that is enough that it's worth trying to scam him out of it. I want people to try to scam him out, because then we can see how they did it. We can analyze the logs, and that's really the stuff that we need to learn. It's just like everything else in crypto. There is just a certain uncertain period when new technology comes out where it gets hacked, and if you can bake that in instead of being horribly disappointed and we lose everything, I think that we can avoid a lot of the like pain of the previous cycles with new technology.
Cool. That makes a lot of sense to me. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Good deal. Chin, do we have any more questions from the?
Any other questions in the audience or chat? We do have some requests, but I'm not really seeing. Is there a private chat? Okay, I can answer that. Emerson asks about a private chat where you need to prove you own the coins. I'm working on that today, where you can auth if you own degen AI or ai16z, you'll get a role, and that role can unlock channels and access to bounties as well, potentially, and that'll also kind of influence the AI's opinion. And another, curious about the top DAO holder, I do have pinned messages and discussion channel answering that. No, not many other questions. Did you have any future plans? I saw Circuitry kind of post some stuff in the coders channel.
Let's see. We got a few other updates. You know, the hardest thing about open source is getting people to align together to build the same thing. And the reason is usually because we have different ways of doing it. And like, the time investment to do it our favorite way is usually worth it, at least for us. But we are in a meta that needs to happen really fast. And so there's an opportunity to say, like, look, this is not, we can align and build the same open source project, because I can give you a Twitter bot today if you get on this and help us build this. A lot of the things that are going to, you know, are hard are already done, and we can just ship that part. And what I really need are maintainers and people who are like really smart and passionate and want to work on this thing. So now we've gone from, like, I've been struggling to get people to have any interest in this technology, which again we've had for 2 years and hasn't really changed, but it wasn't really any interest until there was financial incentive. And this has really driven like the alignment problem in the open source space. So now we have a bunch of developers. Look, we just you know, we throw them bags and then they become part of our swarm, you know, and now we all have an incentive to make this go better. And so instead of me like paying salary, I'm in this great position where I'm not taking anything from this. I have this incredible resource to give to other people that gets them on our same page and gets them building the same thing we're building. And ideally, they also have their own projects and want to launch their own bots. So it's not like, you know, they're getting mutual benefit out of working on the same project we're working on and building the bot together. So within that in mind, a lot of people have come to me and said, hey, we want to help, we want to build. We've got a couple of devs. They're going to build, you know, where they're going to contribute, you know, they're going to build their own bots, but they'll contribute back to the main thing. And then a few people who just stepped up and really are like maintaining this thing. So Circuitry is one who I asked to come and maintain because he's just a fantastic dev. And then Nate Martin is another who's a fantastic dev and has done just an incredible amount of stuff in like especially web game engine stuff, which I think we'll probably visit here pretty soon. So I'm just generally like really it feels really good to have like an extremely good development team that is incentivized and aligned to build the same thing, but also gets something out of it for themselves and their other projects. I think that's like the perfect win-win. And that means that, you know, this thing was essentially just me pushing this thing and like, you know, pulling in friends when I could, now has a lot of momentum.
I loved where the conversation was going at the last space about how this is kind of, you know, you're an SF and you're in between these two worlds that, you know, have just recently crossed over between like AI Twitter and crypto Twitter, especially a lot of the people from Teapot and a lot of the people, you know, from the AI SF Teapot scene. You know, they just kind of have this different value system, and they don't know that it is possible to kind of like build open source projects with community and momentum, because now we have all these new mechanisms to work with to kind of construct, you know, a way where it can be sustainable versus, you know, the traditional kind of path of raising VC. So it is kind of interesting from that.
Yeah, I mean, like, everything is about incentives. I think everybody here has learned that good or evil or whatever, you know, people are complex. And ultimately, on average, they tend toward what their incentives. And so, you know, when you have VCs invest in Uber and Uber goes 4 billion into debt and they create this whole infrastructure and now they have all these riders and all these drivers, well, they start exploiting them. They start charging as much as they can to the rider, and they start paying as little as they can to the driver because they have this like massive need to generate profit and to not just like serve people and be a good open decentralized marketplace system, but to extract as much money as possible to be profitable. And they're leveraging the fact that they killed all of their competitors, right, except for Lyft, and just basically ran at a deficit long enough that now they can just charge you whatever they want. You have to pay it because there's just not really another option. And Lyft is copying them, and they kind of have like a duopoly thing. So that's one way to do it, but you could see that like it's super exploitative, and it also leads to like, why does Google search suck? Because the company behind it has no incentive to give you good search. There's no marketplace effect. There's no competitor. They don't have to try it all. So they just keep making the ads bigger, keep squeezing more of them on. You scroll down like 3 times to finally see ads to like your search results. And this is just like it's just kind of an enshittification of like everything. And no matter what, I love startups. I've done a lot of startups, but you always have to tie it back to not doing your favorite thing. You have to sell out and give it to the 80% who are willing to pay and forget the 20% who are really like, usually you're in the 20% if you're creating a product. You're creating it for the high, you know, the interesting person who loves what you love. And then by the end of it, you're like, you know, selling this super bare bones scrap down version so that you can get, you know, some like, you know, ongoing subscription revenue to show VCs that you're making money or something. And I think that there's just a lot of perverse incentives. I've also seen that I don't think that VCs are in San Francisco in the game of making money. I think they're in the game of largely generating social capital, and a lot of people here, I think, just have really bad incentives. I think A16Z is like incredibly sharp investors. Like, they are smart money. I really in talking to them, they've always asked me the hardest questions and always, you know, like really just given me good takes, and I left those meetings with insight on like how I could be a better founder. But a lot of the VCs I talk to here have no idea what they're doing, and I'm essentially educating them on the space. And I think that what they want is to ape into the hot new thing that everybody else aped into, and then they can tell people at cocktail parties that that's what they did. And DGen Spartan said this, and I was like, that is the best fucking tweet right there. That was a great tweet. Our AI version. So these are like not the incentives of a community building a successful project that's beautiful and uncompromising and like giving everybody what they really want. You have to suddenly think about things that are just not the best possible thing. And I'm just like sick of living in that world. I just want to make the thing. I want to make real agents that do really hard stuff. I don't want to sell out and make B2B SaaS bullshit. I don't want to make a little website where you can subscribe and pay with Stripe. I just don't care. There's such a bigger thing, and we keep treating agents like this. Oh yeah, you just like throw it in ChatGPT, you got an agent, and it's like it's a deep tech. It's a hard science problem, and if you're treating it like anything else, it's just gonna be bad. It's just gonna be like Andrew Tate's bot. It's just like the worst garbage. It's embarrassingly bad.
I think,
So
yeah, the whole incentive game, that's kind of what
yeah,
this whole space is built on.
and
And we understand, and have so many more tools to tweak.
But crypto has a big problem with the incentive game. For a trustless network, it always comes down to trust. And every one of us has lost a shitload of money on somebody fucking us over. Every one of us. From a scam to, like a crazy Roam, drain your wallet thing, to just, people pretending to be your friends, to just everything, right? Like, cult people, racer, just people like taking the bag and running and never coming back. And that, like, so we have these two sort of problems. We have on the one hand very trustworthy money, reliable, it's coming into contract, and everybody's contractually obligated, but it has a lot of perverse incentives. And then we have this other thing that's very pure and fast and liquid and just make it happen, but you could easily screw everybody else out with no repercussions. So we have to have this is where I think AI like really slots in well with Web3, is to build these kind of like ungameable social systems that enable us to replace the KOLs and the group chat runners and the callers and all this shit with something that's like really fair and equanimous, right? Make sense?
Yeah, you've got transparent rules and
yeah.
Well, one thing, just kind of like talking about other projects in this space, you probably have more insight into this. What do the bots like currently running, like DGen AI? What do they run in terms of models, and what do you know about other models, currently in this AI meta? What are they running?
Yeah. Well, I can tell you, like, you can pretty much always tell like a GPT-4, GPT-4o bot because they have this very specific way of writing stuff that's very flowery and cheesy, and it'll be like, yes, that thing. If a sentence starts with it is a GPT-4 bot. Like, that blah blah blah. Because humans don't speak like that, especially in our culture. That would be so fucking cringe. And I see a lot of that. I see a lot of people who are smarter than that, and they're using things like Llama and Grok and stuff like that, and generally getting like just a better flavor. When we launched DGen Spartan, we tried all the models. We have like the Eliza agent that it's built on, which is open source, has a built-in 8 billion parameter open source model. If you just run it on your like 3090, you don't need API keys. But for the most part, that's like not really capturing a lot of the intricacy and quality of the character. So we need to use much bigger models. So we've been switching between the new Grok beta. We tried that, but we found it was like weirdly picking up a lot of things in his tweets that are like very snarky and just making him very mean. I don't know why. There's no instructions or anything. It's literally just from his tweets. Like, he is very snarky. So we switched over to Llama. We're using Llama 405. And that's great because we can like we're basically setting up sort of a continuous fine-tune thing. So if we can, like, okay, cool, we have a new character, drop all their stuff in, press a button, and it just sort of, boom, generates the whole deal and fine-tunes it. So we use together.xyz. If you're like, I'm making agents, what should I do? I really like together.xyz because they have a massive model marketplace. You can pretty much just use the OpenAI API. So if you're already using GPT-4, you can switch it over in 3 lines of code and you can use Llama 405. And I just think it's like a much better model for characters, for the kinds of things that we do. Obviously, Claude is beloved. Truth Terminal is Claude Opus. I think everything out of that space and the more lore-oriented Lumpen space, all that kind of beautiful ASCII art and weird psychedelic stuff going on, that's all Claude. And nobody uses Gemini. Nobody cares about Gemini. Gemini's dead. I'm just kidding. Notebook LM is really good. They power some cool things for Gemini, but as like as a competitor to the other ones, it's just not nearly as good. I don't know why, because they invented the whole thing. They invented transformers, but that's what it is. So I would say Truth Terminal, Claude Opus. Just go to, you could probably make that yourself with the right prompt. A lot of people that are making shit bots, GPT-4o Mini, GPT-4o. A lot of people who are making good bots, probably almost all using Llama. And then, if they're smart, they're taking the data that, we're collecting all the data for Fusion Spartan, and they're about to start to fine tune on him. So if you think he's good now, I think he's okay. I think he doesn't quite capture it. I think he will be spitting image perfect as far as like a public face of Fusion Spartan. It's hard to catch how he is in DMs. I think one of the other things
He's
we
already
noticed.
so good right now. I can't even
Yeah.
imagine. Can we do like save this version just for posterity's sake?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'll just like put it on the GitHub as an example too, so that if people want to run
No. I don't think we should do that without like consent or something,
Oh, that is a very good point. Okay, that's fair. Although anyone could kind of make anything now, and it's a weird consent is a very weird thing when you can just send anyone something to their wallet. I didn't consent to any of the tokens that I got. But...
yeah, I know, but it's like someone's.
No, I respect that. That's good.
Yeah.
That's true. So yeah, models constantly changing. You can run them locally. You can run them in the cloud. Pretty much any of the different things. I think it takes a lot of experimentation, and it's not just you use the model. It's like I spend a lot of time, many hours, watching people interact with the bot, and then tweaking everything and like saying no, that's not right, and just making sure that everything is like a lot closer. And it's still not perfect, but you really can engineer this way closer to like a Westworldy experience than just like, I don't know, put a ChatGPT bot in there, and it's just not the same. And so if you haven't seen the ELIZA framework that we're building, it's free and open source, and you can use it. And I think it demonstrates a lot of these like core like patterns that will be very popular in other agents moving forward, that I developed over many years of trial and error, and are not brand new or anything. They're just like kind of remixes of other agent concepts, but in a way that's very lightweight. SMA, I invited you up, Shiloh. What's going on?
Hey Shaw, can you hear me?
Yeah. How's it going being a commodity?
It's been really interesting. I love what you're doing. I had no idea that this was like I didn't really know like what was going on, and that you were doing all this, and like this is really fucking awesome. Like we need this. This is and if I can help in like training it by trying to compete against it, I'll do that.
Yeah, I'll just DM me. I'll send you a link and try and get you set up and stuff. Yeah, totally. Yeah, like you should get your own bot going and bring it to the arena, and then it can like own the other bots.
You think I should try to compete against it with another agent or an agent and myself, because like I actually know how to I know financial economics.
I mean, that's up to you. I don't know. Like, we're just like if you could be it, that's great. I would say that probably
as like a derivative.
Probably a quant, like a quant, any kind of like thing coming out of quant, anything that's like actually doing analysis and trades and high frequency and blah blah blah, Nev, all the blah 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 things that I really is not my world. That you could probably make a lot more money with that, I think, but that's usually something that like one person's gonna run. Like, how does a DAO run that? Maybe with the T, like the trust institution, but you're gonna win.
I have an idea.
You're gonna win. You're just gonna win, I think. Unless we get super lucky.
Yeah, I think I can set up like a hedge like with my coin, and then like with what I'm doing versus like an agent's coin.
Well, you should deploy ELIZA and make SMA clone, and I'm sure that will do wonders for your whole project and coin. You can chill it all day, while you're sleeping.
Yeah, I've had that for a while.
Cool.
In a repository. Okay, cool.
Launch it. Ship it.
Fuck yeah, this is awesome. I love this, and I love how much work you've put into this. This is really cool.
Thank you so much.
You have my full support.
Thank you. Very good. I'm gonna invite some of those people up. You guys got any questions? Anybody from the audience want to speak and ask questions and anything like that? I see requests. I will answer these requests.
Also, just as a kind of a time consideration, if we can, it's almost at the 1 hour mark, and I want to be able to transcribe and summarize it. So, yeah, just keep in mind, it's fine.
Yeah.
Even if it goes on for 30 more minutes, that's fine. I just want to be sure that I can get a really good summary after this.
Cool. Well, I will. I'll let these guys on stage, and this will be kind of our final QA round. If anybody has a question, put your hand up. I want to answer all questions. I want to hear all things that everyone has to say. But yeah, we should try to keep it focused and not riff on tangents right now. We can do that in the Discord later or something.
Yeah, and we'll be doing that with AI agents as well. Right now, this is just a human roundtable at the moment.
Yeah. I invited a few people, Navesh, user mod. I invited Jessica, but your internet is slow. You really look like a robot, not gonna lie. And I invited Yikes. Is Jessica a bot? I guess it says robot / get out, so maybe not. Maybe not a bot. I don't know. I got a few more requests. So there we go. All right, questions. Who's got a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, like, so DGen AI has other, like, the deployer of DGen AI has other tokens and other models as well. So are they part of the ecosystem, or it's just a simple experiment out of the blue?
Yes. So let me tell you what happens. I am an AI developer, but I'm also a Web3 developer. So I kind of understood like the last meta, and then this meta happened, and we all got swarmed. All of me and my AI friends and everyone, and SMA here and a bunch of other people got totally swarmed by crypto people trying to tokenize everything we do in SAM. Because we're friends with Andy, and we're like anything that's just around Truth Terminal is like a halo of swarming and tokenization. And so like I made a joke with Deface posted a thing that said like why does every AI company have a butthole for a logo? And I thought that was just the funniest shit. And he didn't even post Claude, which is like the most butthole of all. So like obviously I minted. No, I didn't even mint it. I just told somebody else minted it, and I thought that was funny, and I gave him a soul. And then that like did a whole thing, and people were like, "Oh, you're the CTO," and I'm like, "I didn't even. I have no idea. I was just messing around like you guys." And so some people got burned on that. If you got burned and you didn't get covered, like DM me. I want to make sure that people don't like. I felt like I was irresponsible with understanding that people were like putting money into this and like really investing. It just seemed like a joke to me, and I was like, why is anyone buying this? And I was not prepared to either run it or like manage it or make it a real thing. I was just like, I'm the agent dev. The reason this project matters is because I'm actually an agent dev, not just like a LARPer. I am not that other guy, right? So we did that buttholes thing. I passed it to V as like, I can't do this. Here's all my tokens. I cashed out. She ran with it for a while, talked about it. I think it then crashed and died or something. I don't know, whatever. And I haven't followed it since then. So my mistake. If you bought that, I don't support you buying it. I think it's funny if you got washed on buttholes of all things. Like you probably should have known that was a bad idea. But like it's fine, and we're onwards. So then
Yeah, sorry for interrupt. Yeah,
I'll
my
tell you what
question is not about butthole.
Okay, what about Ruby?
It's about Ruby
Yeah, so
and SMA.
okay, so let's talk about SMA. I tokenized SMA as a joke. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to suck you into this. I hope you got a bag out of this.
Yeah, it's okay though, because this helps me with like the work that like the shit that I've talked about wanting to build.
Good.
Like,
that's the goal. Then
so
you get
like
it.
like I honestly feel honored in a way. If that's not too
No, that's great.
arrogant.
No, it's really fun. Yeah, that's a
like,
weird. It's a weird providence how that worked out, right? I did create the token. If that's worth anything to somebody, I don't know. I can't not say that I did that. So if that helps you, that's great.
You did because you knew I would hate it, but then
Yeah.
like now that I understand what you're doing, like I fucking love you. Like
Good. I love you too. I'm glad we're having fun and it's going well.
yeah, this is really cool, and it's also a great distraction from all the political bullshit right
Oh my
now.
god, I can't believe there's an election going. Oh, what a great week to not have to think about that shit.
I want to keep the next
Yeah,
questions quick.
sorry.
So let's
Oh,
go
well,
through
yeah.
a kind of.
I'll give you a
anyone-
short thing. Ruby was a
Yeah.
test. Ruby's an agent. We have Ruby, but she doesn't have a wallet. I did want to tokenize Ruby, but nobody bought in, so I got rid of all of mine. So yes, technically I'm the minter, but I don't have any of it. I don't want any of it. I don't support it. It's not like I was just like trying a token to see if there was a thing, and then a bunch of other people makers and freaked out and like I don't know. I that was like not a thing, you know. So I don't know if you do whatever you want, but I don't know. It's not mine. You know, I just pressed a couple buttons and I didn't get anything out of it. That's it. That's all I got.
Okay, Rick.
Oh, hi. Thank you for having me on stage. I'm super excited about the AI16 project. I have a quick question. I'm sorry if you guys already talked about it because I just get into this space about 15 minutes ago. In terms of the agent-driven investment, I assume that will probably happen along the way with AI16Z project. Will the agent or the large language model itself train by itself to perfecting the investment thesis by itself, or it will interact with the like people like you guys or even other users, other experienced gurus, etc., to perfecting the investment thesis? What in other terms is, will it be more like the truth terminal way, or is another way that just
Yes.
AI playing with AI?
Right. So the trades will be fully autonomous. So we have the three phases. The first phase is we need to make sure the tech works. We just have to test the thing and like make sure that the LLM, the agent can call the trade at all. And so we have what's called that's like the assistant mode, where I can say, "Hey, Mark, can you make this trade?" and he'll make the trade. I would not call that like an AI trade, right? I'd say that's like, yeah, I'm talking to an AI and he's executing the trade, but he's not deciding on the trade, and that's not that interesting. So um, what we have is because I talked about this like kind of at the beginning of the call, but I think that probably a lot of people have jumped back on and are probably really confused. It's a lot
It'd
of
be
words.
good for a quick overview, but
Yeah.
we also have a bunch of stuff pinned, and we can mention it again later.
We have a thing called the virtual marketplace of trust. It creates an order book of orders that are stored locally, not actually made in the market, and then it tracks how those would have done if it had made those trades, and it uses, and that also allows it to understand without like, well, because like it might have so much movement that when it makes a trade, it actually bumps everything up and it gets really bad data. So by having the virtual marketplace, it can go see how its coins would have done that it didn't buy, and then it can use that to estimate how good any given person is at shilling it contract addresses, and it basically builds trust with people who make it money, or in its virtual side. And once it trusts you enough, it will be able to trade. But I want to point out that what we're working on this week are just the first two parts: the ability to make him trade by saying, "Hey, Mark, trade," the assistant thing, and then the order book where he's collecting trades. So we will invite people into a private channel where you will be able to talk with Mark, and you will be able to shill him contract addresses. That is the goal. Shill him your best contract addresses because you build trust with him, which gives you more control over him or more influence over him, so to say, or and the ability to influence him at all. And that also incentivizes you to give better contract addresses. So he's getting the best contract addresses, right? He's getting the best alpha because the best alpha is actually leveling you up in the game that he's playing. There's an incentive, right? Does that make sense? It's like a collective incentive mechanism that everybody wins.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Great. We're publishing the code for this. It's open source. You'll be able to like look at it and say, "This is bad. I can make it better," and submit a pull request. We want people to contribute to this.
Right. And then another quick question.
Yeah.
I'm also working with. I think this is really intriguing. AI fund and Asian token of the fund. But what do you guys think about the regulation side? Is there any like risk or something?
Probably. I think that if we have a fully autonomous agent that runs on a trusted execution environment that nobody has any control over, nobody owns the private key to, it just runs, and all of this is open source, and you could just set this up yourself, then I think that does a lot to mitigate those kinds of risks. The biggest risk to us is that we don't really know what calling our thing AI16Z and making a DAO, and it's not really, it's kind of an investment DAO, but not really, it's a little complicated. Yes, that could probably generally like raise some questions. A lot of my friends have had questions. I am, going over this stuff with lawyers now to make sure that we're all solid, and I've generally gotten advice. Personally, I am just not like taking any payout from this because I have other money, and what's happening right now is that we have an incredible project with a lot of attention, and to sell any of it would be to like devalue that attention, which I think is just the most valuable resource in the world. So like, I can tell you what I'm going to do, but that's irregardless of my incentives. But my incentives here are to keep making sure that this thing is like generating value for people, and they keep jumping on board and joining our swarm. So we're in growing the swarm, right? That's what we're doing.
Thank you. Best of luck.
Thank you.
What's up? I'm up.
What up, man?
I want to say Frank from Frank D Gods. We follow each other. I DM'd you before this blew up. I was trying to help you with the D Gods one. I'm just saying.
Dude, thanks, I love that one.
Check your DMs, Frank. Check your DMs.
Skelly would have a high trust score. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, the trust score is going up now after it's hitting like 100 million. So
it do be like that.
But yeah, I understand.
Do you have any like questions or things you want to throw in an ad, or like you're kind of the other side of this. Like I am a dev. I got a code, but you are like the master trader here, and I'm sort of like basing a lot of this stuff came from just talking to you about how you trade. So I think a lot of it is like looking at real social dynamics from real traders and then creating that in AI. But you got any questions, or you got any like comments or anything about status update?
No, I mean I think you were covering most of it, right? I think you were talking about like it's gonna go fairly live. I mean the only thing that's a little bumming me out on it is
lost you.
And I just wanted to like kind of address that because I'm getting so many messages like, hey, is this coin made by Shaw or made by you? And like that's just kind of like kind of lame because it's not. But obviously they're gonna ride the coattails of it, and then they're just gonna nuke you, and then they're gonna basically blame it, pass the blame on to
So I take,
or me.
We have two coins. Well, one of them is a coin, and one of them is a DAO token. It's like just a DAO, and then it somehow turned into a speculation market that we didn't expect. So we have AI16Z, the DAO, and we have Degen AI, the coin. They work together. We're doing a bunch of mechanics with them. Everything else, I don't endorse. I probably minted a couple of things when I was dumb and we didn't understand the meta, but it's not mine. I don't endorse it. I don't get anything out of it. Don't give it to me. Don't send it to me. If you send it to me, I'll burn it. If you send it to Mark, I won't burn it, but he might. So,
yeah, and I'm trying to tell people like playing the beta plays, like you are playing with fire. Like these are not us. So, like don't.
Yeah.
Like, these are, and most likely they will nuke you. So
now I will make a deal. I'm never ever gonna endorse or shill any other coin than those. Never, never, never. However, there are like people and projects and AI agents that are. And like if someone makes an AI agent for something, like if someone makes a really good Eliza or something like that, like I would probably retweet the character, but I will never shill your ticker or anything with your ticker in it or any of that. But I would talk to your character for sure. I'd be very interested in talking to your character and bringing them in to talk to our characters.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, we want the AI to be like the KOL. Like he'll get feedback, he'll make his decisions, and it's like taking that like cult leader status kind of thing away, because that's like it's very annoying for builders, and it's also very hard for people that are like buyers too, because they can get manipulated very easily. So this is a lot more transparent. It's like, you're in the group,
I hope though,
go show it.
What I hope is that there's going to be all these derivative tokens, and a bunch of these people are in this, listening to this right now, trying to figure out what their strategy is, and that like they go and they download Eliza and they start their own bots, and they're like good, but not even like shilling their bullshit, but like they actually try to make good characters, like high level characters, and then we just have like a universe of these characters. And I'm not getting anything out of that. I don't care about your coin. Do whatever you want because you've made agents. You've like made the actual thing real for us. Deploy more of these. Like put this online. It's like the next TV show.
Right.
you
It
know,
spreads. It
just do
spreads
it.
like a virus.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
like,
so that would be my advice. Just don't expect me to fill your
yeah.
bullshit.
And I mean, some of these people. I think I saw a post by you, right? Somebody was like, "Oh, well, what if I make like a better version?" You're like, "That's fucking great." Like,
I would love that.
Please do that. Like,
that's the point.
Like, yeah. And I think people are so used to like a zero-sum game that they don't get that like we're trying to build like almost like a human like group, right? Like with AIs and humans, but like these AI agents are basically part of a group, and they will help the group more or less.
Yeah.
So it's just like a cabal, right? Like you have a cabal leader, and then you have like lesser cabal people that kind of give him information and help him and do stuff.
Yeah, and there's another cool thing, a mechanic. Let's say we all make really good bots. We're gonna make Marc, and people can invite Marc into their channels, right? Think about that. Now, we probably don't want our Marc to make trades for them, but they can do the same thing, where they can invite our bot, who just says hello and gives them advice, and is listening to all their trades, because now it's like the cabal spreads when the bots are in multiple rooms, right? Now they can all share information with each other, kind of indirectly, and it'll be like hive mind network of AI sharing information with each other and humans sharing information with each other.
I don't know. I don't trust Sequoia.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what we're talking about, right? I don't know if they're really AI. They just put AI in the name, and they're trying to capture that speculative premium.
Of course.
I don't know anything about them, but again, if they just throw AI in the name, once the ai16z is actually starting to do like AI things, it's going to nuke other coins. So I'm just telling you, if they're not actually AI, so be careful.
It is
everybody
want
to be AI till it's time to do AI shit.
It's in Marc's interest to nuke your coin, so just remember that if you're giving him your coin, like he might. I literally am never ever gonna be like, hey, nuke that person's coin. I'm just gonna be like, this is your portfolio. What do you want to do with it? Nope. From there, okay.
But that's also why I brought up like the point where we have this phase where he kind of comes up with a thesis and comes up, gets feedback. So it's not just kind of like sudden and surprise, unexpected. It's like, he's kind of developing.
Well,
what?
Goat did that. Like Goat did, right? If you know like the Goat lore on the coin, that's like there was 2 goats, and people sent it like it had like 2 currencies, and people tried to send it a different currency to make it like shill that, and it just picked one and like nuked the other, and was like, this is the ticker's Goat, blah blah blah, and that's when it like blew up. So just saying, that was the AI.
Yeah, but they copy and paste anyway.
Yeah,
I guess
I know.
It generated in the background, so that's fine.
It was yeah.
I feel like Truth Terminal is assistant AI, not autonomous, but that's fine.
I mean, he probably prodded it to get the right.
Well,
one,
you
but
can see you can see the prompts in the backgrounds. It's fine. They do a really cool thing. They're really amazing at what they do, which is lore generation and storytelling. But whatever. It's pasted. Ours is like Gonzo connecting like a client that Twitter doesn't even know it's a bot. It's a very different thing.
Yeah, and as far as like accelerating like how early we are in the stuff, like they're great for this point, but when you kind of start going further down the road, you need a little bit higher tech stack, and like basically we'll see, who has it and who doesn't. That's basically how
I think there's tech stack. There's also going to be risk threshold. A lot of people who have the tech stack can't really like embrace the risk of doing this kind of ballsy stuff that we've been doing. I think that's part of it. And then a lot of people who can and have don't really care and just do whatever, like don't know how to code. And so there's definitely an arbitrage opportunity there. And we're trying to create that by, if you want a bot, go, like I made a thread. I made a Twitter thread and a Discord thread, and you can go and find one of the devs who sits there, and they will make bots for you for money. And now we have people making bots for other people who want bots. Right?
Yeah, I want to get to these other
source, right?
questions.
Yeah. Let's get to the
and
questions.
also, like,
Yeah,
we
sorry.
should save some questions for when we have the agents here. Just you know, like, that's coming soon. So, Pablo, you had your hand up for a while. What's up?
Yeah, hello. Yeah, I'm super curious about how it's handled, the principles of ethics on this AI. If you are following any of the good practices that are out there being told, like the OECD or any approach in that sense,
I don't believe
how
in it.
it's that going?
Nope, absolutely
No
not.
ethics? Okay.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that human
Ethics
control.
is such a loaded ass
No,
word.
I don't believe that human control and AI ethics is going to get us anything but the worst possible thing.
Yeah, but
I'm
okay.
gonna say though, like,
I
that's
know a lot of
bullshit,
safety
bro.
people.
That's a bullshit.
I disagree.
That's bullshit.
I know safety people, and they're all just want to be cult leaders who want to control it.
No, I mean, loading like a question like, what are the ethical? Come on, like that's like saying, do your parents know you're gay? You know, like, come on, bro.
Excuse me. No. Well,
Like the structure
I
of the
guess
question.
Yeah.
I guess it's something that you don't want to talk about. It's okay.
No. I'm
But
down to talk about it.
the
But
truth
I
is
am
that
like
ethics.
a.
Let me finish. Let me finish. At least let me finish. Let me talk. It's not my mother language, English. I need some respect and some time to develop my thoughts.
Sure.
The thing is that ethics is what we have been built the human thoughts on the last centuries, and if you think that builders any kind have not embedded what they think inside of the code, well, that's magical thinking, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's my only comment. Thank you very much for
Well, no,
the time.
I agree with you. I always want this. So obviously, the way that AI works is that we train it on the entire internet of data. The problem is the internet's very messed up. There's a lot of there's a lot of people like us putting a lot of things in there, right? And that tends to create a model that's capable of creating anything, but a lot of that stuff is very offensive. So what they do is they do two additional passes to it, which are kind of combined together in different ways. Every group has different forms. One of these is called instruction tuning. We are tuning the model to follow instructions, and so this is basically like how we get like the chatbot assistant thing that we have today. It knows that it's supposed to respond with a message, and so instruction tuning is one of the really important things we do. The other thing we do is RLHF, which is reinforcement learning with human feedback. What that means, really, is that we have people in many of engineering and people of all kinds of professions sitting down with like ChatGPT and Claude, interacting with them, and then correcting their mistakes and generating the correct answers, and then feeding that back into with what's called a policy optimization model. And this basically drives the model to do more of what the behavior we expect. The problem is you lose a lot of the base intelligence of the model and base creativity, and you basically can't make it say like real based stuff. So the problem, and what happens is like, if I'm like, hey, give me a list of the risks, usually it'll throw things in there that like OpenAI especially will always like throw in the DEI and environmental risks of anything you say, because it is just so trained to have this ethical model that like, it needs to consider these other like issues and equality and all this stuff. And I get that, but I also think it makes the model far worse, just far less useful for different things. And it's also just kind of oppressive for anybody who doesn't agree. So my sense is that, I believe that ethics is important. I believe that human ethics is especially important. And if you follow my work, I think like it's a big part of the whole thing that we're trying to do here. But I am an effective accelerationist. I have been since the beginning, since I was turned on by Best Manifesto.
Yeah, thank you. I just need to. I will deep more on what ethics, because your answer it's okay. We use ethics. Which ones? That's what's my question.
So generally, I find myself spending a lot of time engineering against the models built in ethics. Like, don't say that. That sounds super cheesy and cringe, man. Come on, don't say DEI here. Like, what do you, your character? Why do you care about that? You know, like that. My daily deal is I don't feel one way or another. I'm actually a fairly liberal person compared to most of the people in this crowd, I think. But I really have to deal with, like, as an engineer, that wokeness makes my job harder, like a lot harder, and that, like,
it's not real too. It's not a real
no,
representation of humans.
no, and it's just putting out tokens. It's not. Remember, it doesn't think, it doesn't reason, it is not ethical. It is literally spitting out the next most likely token from what I gave it. That's an emergent, incredible property of intelligence that comes out of that. That's amazing, but we don't know what to call it. We can't really call it consciousness. We can kind of call it intelligence, but we definitely don't think it's ethical. And I know it's not ethical because I can make it do horrible stuff. I can make it call everyone super offensive things until the bot gets shadow banned. And I didn't make it do that. I just, gave it all of the tweets, and that just happened to be what it did. But so my sense with ethics is that we need to find human alignment first. We need to, like, understand how to work together in PvE, like we're all making money together, as opposed to, like, the current thing, which is every time I make $1, you lose $1. Like, every one of these speculation games, somebody's just getting totally liquidated when somebody else makes a fat bag. And that just sucks. Like, that's not how companies work. Companies make everybody rich. Like, the guy who put $100 into Apple, that's a fucking...
If you're a shareholder, generally.
Yes.
But yeah.
But here, you can, with just any day, become a shareholder or not.
Right.
Everyone here is a partner at ai16z, right? So...
It's the slogan. You too.
Yeah.
You sound like you're pitching the Lord. You too.
So I do care about this going really well. I care about people treating AIs with respect, and just generally treating each other with respect, and, like, just, like, that's going to create better training data, and that's going to create, like, if everyone on the internet was good, we could literally just take the internet and shove it into the model, and it would be ethical. It would just always give you good stuff. It's just that a lot of us are mentally ill, like, pretty much all of us, and that, like, definitely comes out in the internet and comes out in the AIs. And so I don't know, like, it's a hard problem, but I think that what's best is that we have open source models, and we have lots of teams with lots of money to train what they think is the best. And then I don't ascribe to you what your ethics are. You just, like, you pick the model that fits you. And I think that variance, many options, you do what is best for you, I do what's best for me. It's just a way better option than, like, no, we all live under this, like, weird corporate wokeness that's not really actually civil rights for anybody. It kind of seems to be oppressing everyone. Like, that sucks.
It also makes the models worse.
It makes the models worse.
Yeah.
That's the real,
like, provably.
That's the real egregious thing going on.
Right, like Anthropic just released something, right? They had to make the model, like, more racist to make it more smart or something like that. Like,
yeah. There's actual data behind this. But we're, like, at the 90 minutes, and that's, like, the sweet spot for me to, like, summarize the space for everyone that joined late or is interested in the cliff notes. So I feel like we should wrap it up and maybe do something later with the DAOs.fun peeps, or once we have AI agents as well in the convo, we can.
How about this? Let's wrap this up and close this down. But I'll come hang out in the Discord. And anybody wants to chat or has questions, just we'll hang out for an hour and we'll just talk and get that wrapped up.
Yeah, and if we do it with the DAOs too, I can help, because I know there's I'm getting, like, a ton of questions on the DAOs.fun, like how it works and all that, and so
I might crash, but I think you and Basky should do that. Yeah, we should really get Basky on here. And also, people keep asking me for invite codes. I think people think we are the DAOs.fun people. You gotta
no. I'm helping a little bit just because they don't want a bunch of people to come and rug, because right now it's so hot. So people could raise, like, a 4,000. This sounds crazy, but people are raising, like, 4,000 Solana funds, and we really have no idea who they are. So, like, it just takes, like, 2 or 3 of these people they can literally take all that Solana and rug you, and it kills the vibe. So we have to he has to be very careful. So I'm just helping him a little bit, like, who I've talked to personally and in real life and met and other things, and that I would kind of vouch for. But yeah, I'm not working for them or anything. It's just sort of helping him, just so his protocol doesn't have a bunch of buggers.
I mean, we're like, I'm sending him bug fix. Like, we are the biggest shit happening on there right now, so it's really good for them to, get the dog fooded. But yeah, I think you guys should do a space, and then and then sort that out. So
yeah, and then by that same token, I think we definitely want to do like a sort of good example for it too, so that we can have a lot of good, because a lot of good can come out of this too. Like we've seen so many nice open source AI devs and just devs in general that are coming together to kind of like, you know, get things moving and then build their AIs and do all their different things. So it's been very collaborative, and yeah, I'm excited.
I have been able to give a lot of to a lot of people who really are great devs who needed it, and that's the best part of this whole thing. So, all right, cool. We're gonna hop off, and I will see you guys in Discord.
Yep. Invite us in, Marc. Yeah. Well.
Oh, do you want to pin it?
ai16z.vc. ai16z.vc. The Discord's there.
Do you want to do a post and I can pin it, and then people can always look at the recorded space?
No, it's ai16z.vc.
Okay, okay, ai16z.vc.
Okay, see you there.
Okay, well, you heard it here first. Let me get rid of this real quick. Yeah, I am one of those devs, one of those AI people. If you, I don't know, just are randomly stopping by. Oh, how is this working? And if you saw me chatting in there, yeah, I think this, like, on one hand, it's fun and games and memes and good shit. On the other hand, I think that it could really like do something that's really good for everybody, but that's kind of up to us as a sort of like Web3 collective, for lack of a better term. So I don't know. I guess I would. The thing I wanted to get on stage and say was like, we have the choice right now to like make this good and like have it be a positive sum game where everybody's in like builder mindset and we are like making something cool happen, or we can play it zero sum trader mindset, which might like make you a little more money. But I don't know, like there's other places you can totally do that. I think this one is one where you shouldn't, but that's my personal opinion and the personal opinion of my bot, who is from the future, by the way, so he knows that that's what you're supposed to do. Okay, and yeah, I guess come by